Okay, so tonight we are learning the Amud Chof Gimel Amud Beis. Let's begin from the top. The Mishnah. We're gonna be bringing in Zika, Achos Zukukoso, that we discussed a few times in the past, into a number of these cases. So the Mishnah begins. Misha Kiddush Achas Mishtei Achayos. Reuven is Mekadesh, one of two sisters, only one of them. Ve'in yodea iza mehem kiddush. He does not know which is the one that he was Mekadesh. Noisa get lezu, ve'get lezu. So the Mishnah says he needs to give a get to either one, because he can never take any of them to marriage because it might be the sister of his wife. So he has to give a get to each one. If he died without giving any gittin, so now you have no children, and whoever the wife is falling to Yibum, and there's only one brother to fall to Yibum. So what should that brother do? There's two women. Again, each one is a safek the yevamah, safek the yevamah sister. What we call achos zekukosu. Safek achos zekukosu, which is aser, apsika, and safek the yevamah, mitzvah. Chalitzah, because of the safek achos zekukosu, the ervah of his, the one who's mazukuk, he has to do chalitzah to both. Fine. Haylo shnayim, new case, a continuation. What if there was two brothers in that same case? So now echel chalitz, lacham yavim. So again, you're not going to be allowing any of the brothers to go right away and do a yibum, because maybe that woman is fine. Maybe it's a mitzvah. On the other hand, perhaps it's a chalitza. But one brother, the first woman has to have a chalitza done by one of the brothers. At that point, we allow the other brother to do yibum, because maybe he's doing yibum properly to the mitzvah, the one they should. And if not, then okay. So then it's the sister of the one who used to be married to his brother. That's not an isser. That's 100%. So that's why we say so that second one could do a full yibum. Called moving on. So what happens if the eved they didn't ask a shiur and they went and they both did yibum? They both got married, one to one woman, one to the other. So we say, okay, they shouldn't have done that. But once it's done, whoever got, even if the second one is the one that got the right woman for Yibum, fine. So now the Zika Achos Gukoso to the first one is off. The second, the actual yevamah is no longer mazukuk to the first one. It became nisbarer. She was going to the second one. Rashi says an interesting expression here. Because I have to remember, he says it comes off l'mafreya. L'mafreya, the zik is off. The Rashi is not being that. It's not true from other sugyas. Clearly, it doesn't work like that. We say once there's an isser, there's an isser. So it's something to discuss. Here, it's a little better because there's two brothers there, and it's almost like being mevarer. By the second one doing the yibum, it's mevarer that he was the one that the yevamah was falling to, making the first one potentially mutter to that yevamah sister. But there's still what to discuss. Look at the Einar the Rashash. Continue the Mishnah Shnaim Shekidshu Shtei Achayos. Two men, they are Mekadesh, two sisters. Ze'ein yodea is a kiddush, ze'ein yodea is a kiddush. The question is which is to which? Which woman is to which man? So again, each one is a safek his wife. Safek ish is ish. Okay, so they both require two gittin. Mesu, there was no gittin given, and they both died. So the case we give now is each one has one brother, there's no children. So each one's wife is falling to Yibum, and the shiur is which is the one falling to which one. Every man could look at each woman and say either she is the yevamah falling, or she's the yevamah's sister, which has two issues. First of all, it's achos gukasu. In this case, it's also a yevamah l'shuk. She might be falling to the other, a whole different family, a whole different man. In which case, there's an isra to go get married to anyone else till she has a yibum or chalitzah. So there's two problems here now. So here we say, so each one does a chalitzah to both. Misafek. Maybe it's the yevamah, maybe the other one's the yevamah. I'm sorry, and then also, right, if the first one does chalitzah to both of them, great, so they're off. The second one, when he comes to do A Yibum, so the first one might be achos chalitzah. It's no longer yevamah l'shok, but it might be achos chalitzah, the ervah of his chalitzah, and achos zukukaso. And then the second one is achos chalitzah. When he does chalitzah, the first one, so the second one is the sister of the one who he did chalitzah to, which we'll see in the fourth parak. That's an issur derabanan. But the mitzvah is also continuing in the Mishnah. A little more complicated. In that same case, one of the men had his one brother. The other man has two brothers. So we're just going to apply what we said earlier in the Mishnah. So, the one brother has to do chalitzah to both. There's no option, because there's always going to be a shiur of maybe it's achos zikukaso, and if you did chalitzah to one, or the second one will be achos chalitzoso, the sister of the chalitza. But once he's out of the picture, so now you're back to what we said earlier in the Mishnah. You're basically remaining with two women. One of them is the yevamah falling to Yibum. The second one is not, it's just a sister. So there's two brothers available to deal with. So the first one is Chalitzah, second Yibum, kadma v'kanutz, like we said. If they both went in the Yibum, at this point we say, okay, whoever the yevamah was, she got the Yibum done, and the other one is the Zukukasu issue is no longer.
Isn't there a possibility that so kadma v'kanutz is referring to who here?
Right, very good. It means that the two brothers, meaning the one brother and that family is out. You're right. We're not talking about him.
Right.
That would be you're right. That would be very good. Yevamah l'shuk.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, that's what you're getting. Right. So that's very. So then he's out. You're right. We'll only deal with the other two, and then it's basically just applying what we said earlier. It's the same case at that point from earlier. Great. L'zeh shnaim. The less complicated case there. In the same case, two men, not related, each one married a woman, not clear to who, each one dies, each one has two brothers. So here we have a better option. So you take each one of their brothers will do chalitzah to A or B, we'll call one woman A, other one B, and then at that point, if you think about it, you'll figure out there's no problems here as long as the second brother and each one will do Yibum to the Chalitzah of the other families. Because right, if you just take each one for a second, so he comes to do Yibum. So what are the chances? Either he's getting it right, either this is the yevamah, great. If it's not the yevamah, so what are our problems? So the potential problems are, maybe it's yevamah l'shuk. No, it's not yevamah l'shuk because there was already a chalitzah done from the other family. The other option would be maybe it's achos chalitzazo. That's not true. He never did chalitza. Only his brother did chalitza. The last problem would be achos zukukosoi, the achos of the one who's mazukuk to him. So on that we say, hold on, how does that work? Achos zukukoso. So her sister was the one that fell to Yibum. Her sister fell to Yibum. Chalitzah was done to her sister. Right. Once the Chalitzah is done to the sister, so it's no longer Zukukasu, and then the sister of that yevamah is completely mutter, like we said earlier. That's the last one that needs to be done. Says the Mishnah, Vayder, Kod Mishnayim v'cholotzu. So now what happens if they didn't ask a shiur, and they got up, two of them got up and they did chalitzah, meaning from the same family.
Right.
So then, the other family don't have both of the Yibum, like we said earlier in the Mishnah. Now we're only with one family. So you have two women, sisters. One of them is falling to Yibum, one is a sister who's not falling to Yibum, and we don't know which one's which. So we don't have both of them do Yibum. One does Chalitza, the second one do Yibum. So again, it's the third time it's coming up, the same halacha.
Okay, so just explain, because I think it'll help. So why were the two brothers not, the two leftover brothers, why would they not be allowed to do Yibum on both? Each one do Yibum on one sister, one do Yibum on another sister.
This is your mamish in the last case, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as before, that if the first one, it's on the first one who's going to do the Yibum, maybe he's getting it right, which is fine, but on the side that he's not getting it right, it's achos zukukoso, because her sister is actually falling to Yibum. and achos of zika, assuming yesh zika.
Oh.
This Mishnah works with zika, so yesh zika.
And we say that achos zukukaso is asur midaraisa.
So that's a very good question. I think we should wait for the third pair. There's the whole. I think there's a number of.
We haven't really discussed that yet.
Not really. If it's the Oraysa or the Rabbanon, that's a great question. And it's not. I don't think there's any simple answer. Every Mishnah has their opinion.
Sure.
You have to work out all the Gemaras. So we could take accept both for now, both possibilities. I mean, once you're just one lashon, I think it's just here. You say here he holds his Chalitzah psula deraisa dehisik ukaso. Let's just wait. Always there. Zark the Gemara. Yeah. Says the Gemara. Shma mino kedusha she'in masur lebiyah have a kedusha. So he said a number of times in the Mishnah, this case, the first case and the later case, you have two women, it's not clear who is the one that's married to this man. And they were both sisters. So we said, in that case, it's not possible to go ahead and with Nisuim because maybe it's Achos Ishta. You can't. So therefore we said give a get. But it's clear that they're married. Whoever it is married. Even though it's a Kedushin, She'in Masur L'Biyah, it's a Kedushin that never has the ability to come to a fulfillment of Biyah because of the suffix. It might be Achos Ishta. Now it's a machlokas by Varav in Kedushin if such a Kedushin is Chal. So it's a kasha on the Amora that says it's not Chal, but Fierce Mishnah knows to get Luzu, he has to give Gittin. And the Yibum follows. Amora says, we'll see in the case of the Mishnah is that there was a point in time when he knew who it was. The Kedushin was, at the time the Kedushin was Shaykh to Biyah, it's just later, I don't know, they were twins or whatever, and they got mixed up, and at that point, the Kedushin was Chal. So he needs Gittin. They cannot be, as even implies that this is the case, he does not know. Look at Tani Ve'ino Yodua. It doesn't say it was not known. Shema Mina, you see from here, it implies that it was once known, it's just not known now. That's what this Amara will say. Fine. Says the Gemara, and now we have a problem though. Mike Mas 1. Mishnah until now, that was good for the Chiddush. The Mishnah was saying that, at least at that point, that Kedushin Yevamos 23b is a Kedushin. But here, what's the Chiddush now? Of course.
Meaning
you have to give a get each one.
We know the halachas of Chalitzah, we know the halachas of Yibum. So the Gemara is just kind of speaking out what would be the halacha, but it's not adding anything additional that we wouldn't have known already.
Well, you're ready. Yeah, I think the Gemara is less sophisticated. Just at the first line of the Mishnah, we'll see it in a second. The first line of the Mishnah knows to get Luzu, the get Luzu. What's the Kiddush in that?
Well, that's obvious.
Yeah, until now the Kiddush was the goof at this point. Kedushin Shein Masur L'Biyah have a Kedushin, but we don't have.
So not the full Mishnah, just the beginning.
Right. The Gemara says Seif Circhalei. The goof for the Kiddush is the end, the Hamshachah, the end of the Mishnah. What does the next line say? That if it happened that it was Meis, he does Chalitzah to both. And the Chiddush is Davkom Nechat Vadar Yevumi, Ab Yevumi Bereish Lo Dikapaga Bachutz Kukah. So the Gemara says goof for that is a Chiddush that there is Yesh Zika is not so pasha. Who said Achus Kukas was such a problem? So we're being introduced right now in the Mishnah to Achus Kukas.
Is this the first time we're seeing Achus Kukaso?
Well, at least Safik Achus Kukaso. It's not even a Vadai. So if, for example, take your Shaila before. Let's say Achus Kukaso would be Darabanan. Is it so pasha that we would say this is Darabanan by a Safik? Maybe she's, and it's not just a Safik, and it might be a mitzvah. Is that right? There's two elements there. First of all, it's a suffix. Even right, maybe you're getting it wrong. I'm sorry, you're getting it right. It's not just tam mutter. It's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah. Is there a earlier Mishnah that we had a chosu cause? So take this for a moment. Yeah, we did. That was right here. We had a chosu sheyivim to chalatzah so misyevemes. Purify you. Well, that was actually allowing for Yibum because one is an ervah, one is not. If one would be an ervah, there's an implication. It's an implication in the Mishnah that only because she's also an ervah. But if she wouldn't be an ervah, then we wouldn't allow for Chalitzah. For Yibum, we would require Chalitzah. It's not beferish. Get out of that. Fine. You have to look back at this Mishnah. I don't think there's any beferish there. So perhaps it's like the first beferish time we're introducing this idea. And especially with the suffix element. Says the Gemara, the Mishnah said Vaiter. Two people, two sisters, two unrelated men. Again, we want to bring the same deal. that how do they not know who it is? It means that I don't know. They sent a shliach be mekadesh one of these two women. It's not shaykh to be because she might be an ish ish. Same answer. It was once known. They cannot make a tani me'inyan dea. Look at tani me'inyan dua. Same thing. But you see, the Gemara is saying the same thing. Here we wanted to say at least this should be the chiddush of the sefer. But now we're saying that no, it's also not a chiddush because it's not true. So what's the chiddush now? Again, sefer is your chiddush. In this case, there's a different chiddush in the sefer. If they die, so the one who has the one brother, the single brother, so he does chalitza to both, like we would have applied for him earlier in the Mishnah, which also is applied for the early piece of the Mishnah. We're just taking two cases and putting them together. So Mara says pshita. So that's exactly hainu reisha. You're just taking the two cases and putting them into one case. You take it right? No. Here's the chiddush. In this case, because it exists, one family has one single brother, one has two. And the single brother, you're never allowing for Yibum, right? You're telling do chalitza to both. But the other family, you're going to say do chalitza, and the second one could do Yibum. So now, within the same cases coming, someone might say, if you're this family could have a Yibum done, perhaps the other brother, let him do chalitza to one and do Yibum to the second woman, which is a problem of achutz chalitza also. That we don't make such a gzera. And also another added element here, which is something that you might not think about, is that we're making a point to say that we should first go to the family that has the one brother, do the chalitzos, and now deal with the other family. As opposed to, if you deal with this family first, that has the two brothers, you say do chalitzah and then Yibum. That's special, because Yibum, well, maybe there's a new element that was added here. She might be yevamah l'shuk. Okay, great. Says the Gemara, the last chilek for today, Mishnah continued. Each brother had two brothers, and basically we took the earlier cases and we also mushed them into one case. The added element here was that it was shaykh for one side to do chalitza, and then you could have the other side do the yibum. Now the tema ligzer dilma miyavim below chalitza. Here we're afraid that maybe they're going to come to do Yibum without any chalitzas. Kamash Malon, Mishnah is saying we don't have to worry about that.
What does that mean? What's the case? What's the...
Yeah, so see the Rashi again. 10 lines for the bottom. Ma'u the table. Let's see the Rashi further. Hainu hach the hashmina bereisha hashnayim echad cholitz v'acham yavim. We said already that if you have two brothers in one family, the first on the chalitza, the second go ahead and do yibum. That's what you're doing here. The hani trei chad cholitz v'acham yavim. Each side is having that. One does chalitza, the second one does the yibum on the other one. Hani trei on the other side chad cholitz v'acham yavim. You just have the chalitzas done first to make sure the yevamah l'shuk is out of the picture, and then you go ahead with the yibums. So it says the next Rashi. Each side will do a yibum. Two issues here. Here's the important Rashi. How did the Gemara answer the kasha? This is what we were asking. We saw this in the Risha. No, the house of the suf lam there only ends up having one yibum on the two women. But given the Uzkim Chalitza, the Chara, Lamaisa, is clear in those cases, we're going to have a Chalitza to one woman. So there will be a remembrance to make sure to have a Chalitza done to the other one. And then start with the Yibum. We know the end result is you have both having Yibum done. That's what we know. So then, so that might be something that they're going to just forego the Chalitza and run straight to the Yibum.
So it's saying that the order would be Chalitza, and then Yibum. That's what the Mishnah says.
Yeah.
And we're afraid the biggest one is that since both families are doing Yibum, right, you're going to mix it up and you're not going to do Chalitza on one side, and then you have Bechal, and then you have these two problems. It's both, first of all, Yevamos Shuk and also Achus Kasu.
Right. The Gemara leads off with this question, and we'll answer it. So we had this quoted, where was it? Yurches and Chavav and Chavzayin. So this is a very quoted Mishnah. It's the first Mishnah of the third parak, I believe. It says the four brothers case, and the two get married to two sisters, and they die without children. So then we have two women falling to Yibum, to two brothers, and each one is achos u'kakoso. Each one is mezukik, and the other one. So you cannot go ahead for the Yibum according to the opinion yesh zika for sure not. And in ein zika, we already explained this. It's a potential be mevaltli the mitzvah Yibum, because if one does Yibum, because there's no issue of zika, or if one does Yibum, no issue of zika, then perhaps the other brother is going to die, and then the second one can't have any Yibum done, so there's a betrothed Yibum, so we tell him do Chalitzah. We say do Chalitzah. So what's the difference over here? Over here we're not requiring Chalitzah. Here we say they can handle a Yibum, right? Like I just went through the two opinions. There's going to be this problem. But in this case, they're not both. The big difference is they're not both falling to Yibum. In the case of the third pair, they're both falling to Yibum. So you have a definite vaday achos tukukos on each one of them. Over here, each one is definitely not achos tukuk. Each one, and then one of them is definitely not achos tukukos. Each one, it's a something achos tukukos. In that case, we're not going to say that in the event that they went ahead and did Yibum b'diavad. I forgot to explain. Rashi says the question of the Gemara was from the Hemshech of the Mishnah, where it says that if they both did Yibum b'diavad, we tell Tetzim, you have to get rid of them. And our Mishnah, we've been saying, no, once they do it, they do it. You don't have to worry. Achus kukosu b'diavad is fine, because it's taken care of. That was the question. So the Gemara is saying the reason why we're clear about that, because there's bigger problems there. Because each one is a valde achus kukosu. In our case, it's a safek, so we can always say, perhaps the first one that did the Yibum actually got it right. Maybe he got the yevamah. And the second one didn't. And even the event that it didn't happen, okay, there's no longer a chalitza once the event. Okay, as Hashem, we'll pick up tomorrow with the last chalik.